Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks. When it comes to this divorce between Jeannie Mai and Jeezy, it seems like Jeannie Mai is taking the Keith Sweat approach and making it last forever. When Jeezy first filed for divorce, she was wanting to keep her family. Then Jeezy said she was playing gatekeeper when it came to the baby. She mentioned infidelity possibly affecting the prenup, and now she's claiming that she didn't have enough time to look over the prenup before signing it, which pretty much means that it was rushed or she was in duress, which would go against Georgia's three-pronged rule when it comes to prenups, which pretty much would mean it's null and void. At this point, it seems like she's throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. We are going to go over this new court filing and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this case and so much more. Now let's get back into it. In September of last year, Jeezy filed for a divorce from Jeannie Mai, stating irreconcilable differences. He stated that his decision wasn't made impulsively. He said they tried counseling, and at this point, he doesn't see any chances of reconciliation. He wants to raise his daughter and have an amicable co-parenting relationship with Jeannie Mai. Jeannie Mai, on the other hand, was just as shocked as we were to find out that her marriage was over, and at first wanted to try to make things work and get her family back together again. However, that quickly changed and she actually became in agreement with the divorce proceedings. On the other hand, she wants to make sure that everything that's handled financially is handled correctly. It seems like she's saying she was rushed into signing this prenup that would inevitably leave her with no alimony from Jeezy. She's also questioning the financial disclosures that Jeezy provided in the prenuptial agreement, and she's requesting that the judge deny Jeezy's request to enforce the prenup. In other words,
I want, give me my money.
So let's get into this agreement and find out what's going on. Now it says, after approximately 2 years of dating, petitioner J. Wayne Jenkins, Mr. Jenkins, and Miss Jenkins announced their engagement April 2020. On or about March 22nd, 2021, 5 days prior to their wedding, Miss Jenkins retained the undersigned counsel to represent her in prenuptial negotiations initiated by Mr. Jenkins. Over the course of 4 days, the parties negotiated the terms of the prenuptial agreement and were expected to provide a complete disclosure of their respective financial positions, including disclosures of their assets and liabilities. It was the intent of the parties to provide clarity and protection for each other, ensuring that assets brought into the marriage, as well as those acquired during the marriage, would be divided according to predetermined terms rather than default state laws in the event of divorce. It was the further intent of the parties to prevent and minimize conflict and a lengthy legal battle in the event of divorce. On the night of March 26, 2021, Mr. Jenkins and Miss Jenkins signed the prenuptial agreement in question and were married on March 27, 2021. The prenuptial agreement included Schedule A and Exhibit C and D for Mr. Jenkins, a personal financial statement and tax return, and Schedule B and Exhibit E and F for Miss Jenkins, a personal financial statement with supporting account statements and tax returns. The abbreviated negotiated window raises significant concerns about the adequacy and thoroughness of the due diligence process and each party's full and fair disclosures of their financial positions. Given the compressed time frame, it was inherently challenging, if not impossible, for either party to engage in comprehensive due diligence, the result being an inability to fully comprehend, scrutinize, and verify the accuracy of the disclosed financial information and casting doubt on the agreement's integrity. While the prenuptial agreement on its face appears to meet the requirements set forth and the requirements for enforcement under the three-pronged test, it is essential to consider the circumstances surrounding its formation. Ms. Jenkins has significant reservations regarding Mr. Jenkins' financial disclosures, necessitating a thorough investigation via discovery mechanisms prior to enforcement of the prenuptial agreement. Granting Mr. Jenkins' motion to enforce prenuptial agreement without affording Ms. Jenkins the opportunity for comprehensive discovery would compromise the principles of fairness, transparency, and equitable proceedings that should guide such matter. Ms. Jenkins further shows that this case will not be prejudiced and that the judicial economy is served by reserving this issue. Therefore, it is respectfully requested that the court deny Mr. Jenkins' motion to enforce prenuptial agreement Or in the alternative, hold the motion to enforce prenuptial agreement in abeyance until discovery has been thoroughly completed. So in determining whether a prenuptial agreement is enforceable or not, the trial court may approve the agreement in whole, refuse the agreement in whole, or refuse the agreement in part. So in my last Jeezy and Jeannie Mai video, we talked about the Shearer versus Shearer, or the three-pronged test that has to be completed in Georgia to find out if the prenuptial agreement is enforceable. So these three things have to be met. The agreement was not the result of fraud, duress, mistake, misrepresentation, or non-disclosure of material facts. Number 2, the agreement is not unconscionable. And number 3, taking into account all relevant facts and circumstances, including changes beyond the parties' contemplation when the agreement was executed, enforcement of the agreement would be neither unfair nor unreasonable. So it looks to me like she's going with number 1. The agreement was not the result of fraud, duress, mistake, misrepresentation, or non-disclosure of material facts. So it looks like she's trying to say she was under duress, and then there was misrepresentation done when he did not disclose all of his financial information. So now she would have to prove through some type of forensic accountant that he lied about the money he stated he had at that particular time. She would also have to prove that she was under some type of duress. She's bringing up that it was 5 days, then we had to go through 4 days, and it was just so rushed. I really didn't have time to look at all of the financial information then. I mean, nobody really could. Well, since nobody made you marry this man, ain't nobody hold no gun to your head, and you had an attorney there, you was able to pick your own attorney. It wasn't like Dr. Dre's wife that had to use his attorney. You was able to pick your own attorney, and your attorney at any point could have said, sis, this ain't right. Don't do it. Now, you had the options at the time, you just chose not to use them. Now, it's crazy how the talk of possible infidelity has shifted to something completely different. Now, if there truly was a clause in this prenup that mentioned infidelity, if it mentioned sexual relationships, texting relationships, emotional relationships, and he actually did those things, I would go with that first, not this. That's why I'm saying it's so many different angles being used, and at this point, it seems to me like there's spaghetti being thrown on the wall just to see if it will stick. Jeezy has since denied the cheating allegations, and I'm sure if there was any proof out there and Jeannie had her hands on it, she would have submitted it by now. I'm not sure how this story is going to end, but I can tell you this. Plan on this divorce taking a very long time, because Jeannie does not seem to be going down without a fight and a few bands in her hands. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about all of this mess going on with young Jeezy and Jeannie Mai? And do you feel like at this point she's just grasping at straws, just trying to see what she can do to get some money? Or do you feel like she's really entitled to it, like he really made some mistakes in this prenup? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new episodes.